Hey peeps, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about a subject that I get asked about a lot and that I don't often open up on simply because I spent so much time writing about it in the beginning. I'm going to be talking today about 5 of the biggest mistakes you can make if you are interested in joining the craft and becoming a witch. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, why don't you subscribe to my channel right now and hit that bell so that you get notified when I have new videos out. So sit down, get comfortable, and we'll get started here in just a moment. So yeah, today I'm talking about magic. I'm talking about magic with a K, the real magic, not the magic that you find in my books. But before I get into that, I just want to say I'm so thrilled how much people are loving Midnight Web and how excited people are for the next book in the series. I love writing these. Well, I love writing. And I love writing this series. I also love writing The Wild Hunt. These two series are very connected to my magical life in a sense. I put a lot of my magical energy into them, so they do have some essence of my craft in them. I have a long experience in the craft, over 40 years, and it comes out in my writing quite a bit, but the most it's come out has been in the last 2 series, in The Wild Hunt, Whisper Hollow, and Moonshadow Bay. And before I move on from the subject, there is a massive Easter egg planted in Conjure Web that anyone who has read my work for any length of time they will find and they will see it. You won't know it when you see it. And I think it's going to make a lot of you quite happy because it's something some people have been asking for quite a while. And, you know, I'm excited. You only have to wait till next month to find out. So be sure to get caught up, read Starlight Web or read Midnight Web, and get ready for Conjure Web next month. As I said, I have been in the craft for over 40 years. I am a priestess in the craft. I have taught classes on magic and witchcraft back in my younger days. I used to be a professional tarot reader for almost 20 years. I don't do that anymore because I don't have time with my writing, and it's also a lot of energy. There's a tremendous amount of energy that goes into reading for a stranger, so I just read for myself and for friends anymore. Hi, Kaylee. Yeah, my magical cat. All cats are magical in my opinion. They all have that energy. Some are more goofy than others, but okay. So, 5 of the biggest mistakes you can make when you want to enter the craft. And first, let me pave the way to this conversation for those of you who are new to the craft and new to magical practice. And I hate having to do this because it annoys me. But first, there's no connection between paganism and Satanism. Satanism is another form of Christianity because it follows the Christian tenets of God and the devil, the Christian God and the devil. Paganism does not. We don't even believe in Satan. We don't believe in the Christian God. We don't follow that path. And by the way, if anybody in the comments gets really obnoxious about this, we're going to delete the comments. I hold that right because this is my space and it is not run through a democracy. Anyway, onward from there. Oh, and a second thing. I cannot solve your magical problems. I cannot give personal magical advice. I did that for a long time when I wrote the nonfiction. I don't have the energy or time to do that today. You can find some of my books are available in Indie, some of my nonfiction books. More will be shortly, I hope. I have the rights back. I just have to get them ready and out there. And I do have a magical part of my website that I will link in the description box below, called the Cauldron of Changes, so you can get some information there. Otherwise, please don't ask me personal questions or to cast spells for you, because I won't do it. The best, strongest spell is cast by yourself for your situation, or by a close friend who has energy sort of invested in helping you. Now, to go on from there. And yes, I do sound a little dogmatic on this, because I have been in the craft for over 40 years and I have seen and heard so many stories, some of them wonderful, some of them brilliant, some of them questionable, and some of them downright scary. The first mistake, if you are wanting to enter the craft, is to assume that you already know everything. I don't care how many books you have read on the subject. If you come into the craft and you have no experience in terms of actually practicing, you are going to learn it's a very different animal. It's a very different thing than just reading. Now, the reading can give you a good background, but again, you're going to find many differing opinions on how to practice magic, and your best bet is to read widely and find what resonates with you. My path is perfect for me. And some of my readers have loved my path, and they still live, they still practice by my books. Others found other authors resonated better with them, and other magical practices worked better for them. There is no one right way. There is no one truth. So when you come into the craft, especially if you are working with experienced people, please do not assume that you already know what to do. Listen and learn. Pay attention to your elders. And by elders, it's not just age, it's experience in the craft. The second mistake, trying to do too much too fast, you will burn yourself out that way. Just like with everything in life, you can seriously overload yourself on magical energy and drain yourself on it by trying to go too fast, by trying to become a proficient practitioner in a very short amount of time. Honestly, this is a journey. This is not a rush to the end. This is not a race. The journey only ends when you either decide it's not the right path for you, or when you die. Then the journey transforms. But the journey is a lifelong journey. This is an experiential life choice. And some years you will have mad amounts of leaping forward and learning new things. And some years will go by where you barely pick up your magical wand. After 40 years, I have learned that there is no stopping. You continually learn. And when you stop learning is when your religion becomes dogmatic and when it starts to crash, because religion that does not alter and change with the times will not thrive. It becomes pedantic. So slow down, take your time, really invest yourself in learning through experience. Sometimes you will have to learn slowly, sometimes it will go quick, but learning at a pace that feels comfortable and that feels right. That's the best way I can put it. Like, you know when you're walking too fast and you're going to get winded. You know when you're exercising too hard. You know when you're not exercising enough. You can feel it. You know when you eat too much. You know when you don't eat enough. It's the same with magical energy. You'll know when you're doing too much because you'll get exhausted and burned out. And you'll know when you aren't doing enough because you'll get poked in the ass, basically. Especially if you are working with the gods. They do let you know when you are slipping up. Now, the third mistake is one that annoys me to no end. And that is what I call the dabblers. The people who want to do it because it's trendy, or because it will make mom and dad angry, or because, oh, so and so is doing this, so I've got to do this too. You need to not dabble in forces like this. If you are seriously going to commit yourself to the practice, then do it. If you are going to sit there and go, well, it's really fun to be a witch on Halloween, then maybe you shouldn't be a witch. I'm sorry. It's just not appropriate. It would be the equivalent to what they used to call Sunday morning Christians, the people who only go to church on Sunday and throughout the rest of the week don't practice what they are learning or don't act according to the ways. It's the same thing with magic. If you only decide you're a witch on Halloween and you're doing it because it's trendy, then you're not a witch. You are a dabbler, and you can hurt yourself because these forces are real. They are not fake. They are not all in your mind. They are very real forces. And when you do this right, when you approach magic with common sense and respect, you can have wonderful results, and the spiritual practice can be incredible. And when you approach it with disrespect or with joking around, and I don't mean just laughter, because we all laugh. Pagans are among the most irreverent people I know, including myself, and about ourselves as well. But if you think it's all a joke, it's going to bite you in the ass. Fourth rule, don't feel you have to buy all the props and not do the work. I have a tremendous amount of crystals. I use them. I have a number of very beautiful objects for my ritual practice, but I use it. I do the work. It's hard work. And that's another thing. If you expect to come into the craft and make everything easy peasy in your life, it's not going to happen. Magic is hard work. And you use magic. Oh, are we getting comfortable? And you use magic as an enhancement, not in place of common sense. One thing I said over and over in my books is you have to do the mundane first. I had a tarot client many years ago, and this woman came to me. She wanted to know why she kept getting ripped off, why people kept stealing money from her and stealing stuff from her house. Yes, and why they had taken her checkbook and bounced checks in her name. Well, I laid out the cards and I looked at the cards and I knew immediately what the problem was. I looked at her and I said, so do you leave your doors unlocked when you leave the house? Well, yeah, I trust people. Do you leave your purse around when strangers are around? Do you just leave it out? Well, yes, but I like to trust people. Do you let people know where you're hiding your cash? Well, yes, but they wouldn't hurt me. Well, yeah, they were. They were stealing from her. And I told her, all the magic in the world will do no good until you actually start practicing common sense ideas. Because magic, again, it's an enhancement and it can make wonderful things happen. But until you take actual steps to do something, it's not going to be a magical fix. It's not going to be a magic cure-all. There is no magic key that will solve every problem. You have to do the work. And when you do the work, it can enhance that work to a tremendous amount. She didn't like the answer, and she left unhappy. But you know what? I think she locked up her stuff after that. And she called me later and said, "You were right. And I'm locking my door now and taking care of things." And I was like, "Good. That's very good." She learned a lesson. She learned a very expensive lesson, but she learned a lesson that, you know, relying on hope isn't going to get you a whole lot of places. And that's the same thing as just sending up a prayer or casting a spell without laying the groundwork. If you continue to do the things that cause the problems, trying to solve it on a magical or energetic level is not going to do the work for you. Yes. And you can buy all the props in the world. That's where I was getting to with this at first. You can buy all the props in the world. You can fill your house with crystals and a cauldron and herbs, but unless you actually do something with them, unless you do the work and do the meditation and work on the spells and do the study, it's not going to do what you hope it will. You'll have all the trappings. It'll be a beautiful house, but you won't have the magic. You must create the magic. The magic comes from within you, and it comes from tapping into the elements, and that's how you work magic. Now, the fifth tip, it goes hand in hand with dabbling, and that's assuming that it's not real, assuming it's all archetypical, assuming it's all in your imagination, that it can't hurt to cast a spell because of course, maybe it's not really real, or yeah, it is real. These forces are real, the gods are real, the energy's real. You can't see air, but you can breathe. Magic is very much an energy that is alive and well, and it runs through the world and it runs through your life. And when you learn to tap into it, it's very powerful and it's very helpful. But if you joke around with it and do stupid stuff, yeah, you're going to find out the hard way that it's real. I tell my clients, I've told my readers for years, do not bring an Ouija board into your house. It is not just a game. Ouija boards are portals. You don't know who's coming through there, and you can't trust them to tell you the truth. Spirits can lie as easily as people. So, don't assume it's just a toy. It's very real. And when you summon something, somebody's probably going to come through. Who? Not necessarily Aunt Joe or Aunt Mary or Aunt Felicia. I never use an Ouija board. I do occasionally work with the spirits. I do contact them now and then, but I do so in a controlled manner. I do so with having a lot of experience with me, and I do so in a protected circle. I don't pull out the Ouija board and start goofing around. So don't assume it's all fake and that it's just a game. It's not a game. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't practice magic. I'm not trying to scare you off from it. What I am trying to do is get you to respect it. Because once you respect it, you can start studying it. And pretty much if you respect it, you may burn your fingers now and then, but you're not going to make a mess of things. I had a student in my magic classes once, and he thought everything was archetypical. He was like, yeah, I really want change, but I don't want it to be traumatic. And then he told me he was going to ask Kali Ma to help him change things. Well, Kali Ma is the Hindu goddess of creation and destruction, and nothing is easy about her. She is what I consider one of the dark mothers, which is not saying evil. Dark is not evil. It's simply a very heavy energy and can be very breathtaking when you work with them. I told him, you might want to rethink that. You've barely started practicing magic. You know, you're in my beginner's class. If you want change without too much trauma, just, ask for a little change and to make it easy. Don't ask her. Don't invoke any of the gods. Just ask the universe. Say, I need some change and I'd like to find the most prudent way to go about it. Oh, she's so sweet. Look at that. Look at that. And he ignored me. He was like, no, I know I can do this. And I was like, fine. I told him twice. And I wasn't going to tell him a third time. And so he went off and he invoked Kali Ma and he asked her to bring change into his life. And what he got was, his girlfriend left him. He got kicked out of his apartment. He lost his job and he overdrew on his bank account so badly that he couldn't untangle it. He was in a world of hurt. And I was sitting there going, you wanted change. You got it. You just asked the wrong person for it, the wrong goddess for it. And he was just like, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. And I was like, I know I'm right. Listen, there's that whole first thing. Don't assume you know everything. Listen to the elders who've been there before. Now, we may not all agree on everything, but I was teaching my system of magic, and he needed to listen to me if he wanted to learn the way I practice magic. So those are my top 5 biggest mistakes you can make when you're entering the craft. And if you are interested in entering the craft, I recommend that you read several books. One of them is My Embracing the Moon, and it's available in ebook right now. I also recommend Drawing Down the Moon by Margot Adler as one of the better overviews of a lot of modern pagan systems. It's one that I recommend highly to every student I've had. I recommend that you practice. Not necessarily practice magic, but get used to the pagan wheel of the year. Acknowledge the Sabbats. Even if you don't do a full ritual on our holy days, we have 8 holy days a year, then I suggest that you at least take 10 minutes to sit and meditate on what they mean. I may do a series of videos on what they mean if you're interested. You can also find a short primer on my website. I'll link that below too. Anyway, I hope that this was a video that you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments if you've ever done something that you regretted doing because you didn't think it through first, or you didn't listen to the people who know what they're talking about first. I know I have. Honestly, I have. I've burned my fingers. So I am not sitting here saying I'm perfect. I'm saying I went through it too, and I'm here to help you avoid some of the mistakes I made and to make your magical journey a little easier and more comfortable. I will talk to you next time. Let me know if you'd like to have more videos on magic and kitties. More kitty videos. Oh, so many more kitty videos. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye. And have a wonderful, magical week. And get ready for Conjure Web, which very, very big secret in it that a lot of you will be overjoyed, I think. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.